In the remote villages of rural China, there exists a tradition so ancient that no one remembers when it began. It is called Minghun. In English, it translates to ghost marriage. And it is very, very real. The belief is simple. When a young man dies before he can marry, his spirit becomes trapped between worlds, unable to move on, unable to find peace. His ghost grows restless, then angry, then dangerous. The only way to calm his spirit is to give him what he wanted in life, a wife. Sometimes the family will find another deceased woman to be his bride. They will dig up her bones, perform a wedding ceremony, and bury them together. But bones are expensive, and sometimes no suitable corpse can be found. So they find another solution, a living bride. This is the story of Mei Lin, and I warn you now, it is not a story with a happy ending. Mei Lin grew up in a small farming village in Shanxi province. Her family was poor. Her father drank. Her mother had died giving birth to her younger brother. By the time Mei Lin turned 19, her father had accumulated gambling debts he could never repay. The loan sharks were threatening to burn down their house, to break his legs, to sell her brother to a factory. And then one day, a woman came to their village. She was elegantly dressed, with jade earrings and a silk scarf. She said she represented a wealthy family from the next province, a family looking for a bride for their son. They were willing to pay 200,000 yuan. Mei Lin's father agreed without hesitation. Mei Lin begged him not to do this. Something felt wrong. Why would a wealthy family want a poor farmer's daughter? Why were they willing to pay so much? But her father did not listen. He took the money and told her to pack her things. The woman drove Mei Lin for 6 hours through winding mountain roads. They arrived at a village Mei Lin had never heard of. The houses were old, built in a style she did not recognize. The streets were empty, and the family's mansion sat at the top of a hill, overlooking a vast cemetery. The family greeted her warmly. The mother, a thin woman with hollow cheeks, held Mei Lin's hands and wept with joy. The father, a stern man who never smiled, nodded approvingly. They gave Mei Lin her own room. It was beautiful. Red curtains, red bedsheets, red lanterns hanging from the ceiling. But across the room, there was a small altar. On the altar sat a photograph of a young man. He was handsome, with sharp features and serious eyes. Below the photograph were offerings, incense, fruit, and paper objects. Paper money, paper clothes, paper shoes. Mei Lin knew what these were. You burn paper offerings for the dead. Who is this? Mei Lin asked. The mother smiled sadly. That is your husband, our son. Wei Jun, when will I meet him? The mother's smile did not waver. Soon, dear, very soon. Over the next 3 days, Mei Lin was treated like a princess. She was fed the finest foods, given the most beautiful clothes. The servants attended to her every need, but she was never allowed to leave the mansion. And every night, she noticed strange things. The servants would not look her in the eye. The mother would sit by the altar for hours, whispering to the photograph. And sometimes, late at night, Mei Lin would hear footsteps outside her door. Footsteps that stopped right at her threshold, and then silence. On the 4th day, the mother came to Mei Lin's room with a red chipao dress. Tonight is your wedding night, she said. You must look beautiful for Wei Jun. Mei Lin's hands trembled as she put on the dress. Will I finally meet him tonight? The mother helped her with her makeup, drew her eyebrows, painted her lips red. Yes, my dear, tonight you will meet him, and you will never be apart again. That night, Mei Lin was led through the mansion to the ancestral hall. The room was enormous, lined with wooden tablets bearing the names of generations of ancestors. Hundreds of white candles cast flickering shadows on the walls. White, the color of death. At the center of the hall stood a wedding altar. 2 chairs, 2 cups of wine, 2 red candles tied together with string. But only one chair was empty. In the other chair sat a figure dressed in traditional wedding robes. A man. His head was bowed. His hands rested on his knees. He was completely still. Go, the mother whispered. Sit beside your husband. Mei Lin walked forward, her legs shaking. Each step felt heavier than the last. The air grew colder. The candles flickered. She reached the altar and looked at the figure beside her. It was not a living man. It was a paper effigy, a life-size doll made of paper and wood, dressed in wedding clothes. Its face was painted white, with red lips curved into a smile, and pinned to its chest was the same photograph from her room. Wei Jun, no. Mei Lin whispered, no, this cannot be real, but the ceremony had already begun. An old priest emerged from the shadows, chanting words Mei Lin did not understand. The servants sealed the doors. The mother and father knelt before the altar, their heads bowed in prayer. With this ceremony, the priest declared, we bind the living to the dead. We give our son a bride to accompany him in the afterlife. From this night forward, they are husband and wife. In this world and the next, Mei Lin tried to scream, but her voice would not come. She tried to run, but her body would not move. It was as if invisible hands were holding her in place. The priest placed a ring on her finger, a cold iron ring that seemed to tighten the moment it touched her skin, and then she felt it, a presence beside her. The paper effigy had not moved, but something was there now, something cold, something watching her. A voice whispered in her ear, so close she could feel breath that was not breath on her neck. My bride, finally, I have waited so long. The candles went out. Mei Lin screamed. When she woke up, she was in her room. Morning light streamed through the windows. For a moment, she thought it had all been a nightmare. But then she looked at her hand. The ring was still there, the cold iron ring. She pulled at it, twisted it, tried everything to remove it, but it would not budge. It was as if it had become part of her flesh. She ran to the door. It was unlocked. She ran through the mansion, down the hill, through the village. She did not stop until she reached the main road. She flagged down a truck and begged the driver to take her away. She never went back, but the ring remained, and so did he. 10 years have passed since that night. Mei Lin lives in Shanghai now. She has a job, an apartment, a normal life on the surface. But every night, without fail, she feels him. Cold hands wrapping around her waist as she tries to sleep. Cold breath on the back of her neck. And that voice, always that voice, whispering the same words. Soon, my bride, soon you will come to me. She has tried everything. Doctors, priests, monks, exorcists. Nothing works. No one can remove the ring. No one can break the bond. She is married to a dead man. And one day, she will have to fulfill her vows. Last month, Mei Lin started coughing blood. The doctors found something in her lungs, something they cannot explain. She knows what it means. Her husband is calling her home. In the old villages of China, they say that ghost marriages are sacred, that the bond between the living bride and dead groom cannot be broken, that she belongs to him in this life and the next. Mei Lin used to think these were just superstitions. Now she knows better. If you ever travel to rural China and someone offers you money to marry their son, ask one question first. Ask if he is alive, because in some villages, the dead are still looking for brides, and once they find you, they will never let you go. Mei Lin learned this too late. Do not make the same mistake.